from. Tell your girl she can kick it if she wants some, but we got no time to waste.
Welcome to 4AZ. I'm your host, Tyler McDowell Blanken. On this edition, we'll review episodes 17 and 18 of season 5 of Abbott Elementary. As always, we'll discuss the latest storylines, fan theories, and much more. I'm excited to welcome back Sarah Beth and Mike Steph. We'll start with episode 17 entitled No Homework. Ava learns Crystal has implemented a no homework policy at her school. Ava must immediately do the same at Abbott, of course. Barbara leads the teachers in secretly sending homework. Ava finds out about this and then confronts Barbara. I have thoughts on that. Barbara convinces her, Ava that is, that her rivalry with Crystal will not harm the school, or mustn't harm the school, should not harm the school, it cannot. Ava later finds out Crystal doesn't even test her students. And finally, meanwhile, Janine struggles with Gregory not grading homework. And Melissa starts using a sports book app. We'll start in Marana, Arizona. Sarah Beth, welcome back. What did you think of No Homework?
So as someone who doesn't give homework, and it's funny because I remember my school actually, and I don't give no homework at all. We do reading fluency and like math fact fluency, and that's it. So we don't do like worksheets and things. But I remember like when we went to the transition 11 years ago, like how many teachers were up in arms. I remember looking at studies. So it was really funny. I did find it interesting, like how on board, like everybody was with giving homework. Also, I grade a lot of things the same way Gregory Eddie does, in which I look at and say, good job, and give a sticker. And so I was like, Janine would never be able to be on the team with me because like, I don't grade, like physically grade, right? Like a lot of it is like verbal feedback and a lot of that comes down to like within teaching, right? Like we know like immediate feedback is much more like productive than, and this year has been great because we actually switched to almost all online assessments, which like mixed feelings, but because state testing is online, other than the writing assignments, I've had to do like no like actual like sit down and grade. And as someone who really hates grading, but also then like feeling for Barbara and like definitely that conversation where like she goes to try to talk to Ava and like I'm the principal and you're not, and it's like, yeah, you're also not the one in the room. I did love having what's his name, Darnell, the dad, come back.
Darnell, yes.
And also,
I have him in my notes.
As nuts as he is, I love the wholesome of like, that's how we bond is doing homework. Like that he was so like, and again, right? Should he be threatening to beat up Gregory? No, but
again,
it's because he does not want his kids' grades to slip. You know, sometimes like I'll take the crazy if you were at least backing your kid and like helping them at home. So actually I really liked this. Again, I feel like since we've been back from February, March, I feel like a lot of our episodes are more like they were earlier seasons.
Yeah, more cohesive.
Really true to who the characters are, but still like different enough.
Can I just say, Sarah Beth, to your point, Ava talking crazy to Barbara.
Crazy.
We've seen it before. I don't know if it was just my state of mind on that particular Wednesday night when I was watching this episode, but I thought, excuse me, Principal Coleman, you do not talk to Miss Howard like that. It was just, it caught me off guard. And then I've been on a journey with Ava, but I was like, Ava, you built up all this goodwill over time. We're rooting for you. It was the Tyra Banks meme. We're all rooting for you here, but don't be talking crazy to Barbara like that. That's unacceptable.
Also, like, what a crazy to look a veteran teacher of like 20 years in that grade level in the eye and say that, like, crazy. Like, you've lost your mind. And also just how true it is where Barbara's like, I did love like the lengths they went through to like sneak out contraband homework. because they can just send it home, like, like.
Right. That was funny.
But I also love because that was, my favorite mentor teacher, Miss Del Mastro. Like, that was something she taught me early on of like, you're going to be sitting there and you're going to be told to do things that is not what your kids need. And you're going to sit in that meeting and you're going to smile and you're going to say, okay, and you're going to come back to this room. You're going to shut that door and you're going to do what's best. And like, she was like my bar, but like, I mean, and she'd been in the game, but like, I was trained very early on that you sit, you smile. I usually still speak up. I made a lot of friends at the district level.
I was gonna say, but Mike Steph, we know Sarah Beth. There's gonna be a smile, but there's also gonna be, let me get this off my chest real quick.
Very well respected, and also they find me slightly annoying because it's not like I ever come without proof or data or like a solution. And so it's really hard to argue with me because you can't say, hey, there's research, because I will bring research that like proves my point. And I know that like when you're telling me there's research, like there isn't, like, or you used confirmation bias and I didn't. Like, so yeah, I've made some people at some outside level, administrative levels. I don't think they like me, but I don't think they're always happy when I show up because I'm like,
well, listen,
hey,
this is a Sarah Beth Stand podcast, so we're very clear on where we stand here.
Thank you. And to be clear, again, I always do it because it's what's best for kids. Like I don't ever make a decision that is not with the best interest of my students. But also I will tell you that your initiative is stupid if I think it's stupid.
To your
I'm
point,
better at least at not telling people like I think it's stupid. We're getting a little bit better at but like there's never going to be a time like, Barbara, I'm going to do what's best for my kids whether you like it or not. And so
you nailed it. Going back to the crux of what you said, perhaps that was a strength of this no homework episode, is though although we got the jokes and the absurdity throughout the from start to finish, at the heart of it was this idea that new policies are instituted, new ideas are flown out. Some are, you are going to do this, we're having a meeting about it, here we go. And as you said,
and that was even the big part of like, hey, you're rolling this out in March.
Right. The timing was suspect. Was very
suspect. And again, like even if like having your teachers be a part of that decision-making process, right? They're going to take it if they feel like they have autonomy, they're more likely to support it. But when you come in, because I just think back to like, I remember we went to no homework and that was we had some diehard homework teachers. Again, as someone who hated dealing with collecting it and finding it, and half my kids lost it, I was okay with getting rid of it. That was one of those decisions where I was like, if you're telling me it's best for kids and you got the research, I'm going to agree because I don't want to deal with this anymore. Also, someone, who spent many a nights at the dinner table with her dad as he yelled. He did not yell. My dad was very patient. But many a nights for many of hours, I still can't do long division. That I'm okay with it not going home. But like I remember that being a very heated discussion, but like I couldn't imagine my principal coming to us and being like, hey, tomorrow this huge change happens. I don't care if you like it or not. Be ready to flip out. Like Jacob, like that greatly impacted Jacob because it was clear he had used the readings so that he could have discussion on it with the middle schoolers. And so to like switch it on him.
What's that? Like, the flipped classroom.
Right. And depending on how far out in advance, like he does his planning, that really had a huge impact on like their accessibility to like the lessons and things. And so I also like felt that there.
Well, let's hear from someone who I know loves homework, the former valedictorian of Brooklyn Sec. Mike Steph, you are someone who, A, is a fellow fan of professional wrestling, and B, you even said this on one of your recent podcasts, Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, my favorite weekly pod, by the way. Mike, you said when there are villains in wrestling, or heels, as we refer to them as, some of the most compelling heels happen to be the ones who have have a lot of validity within their argument or with their gripes. I don't know where I was going with this. It was something Sarah Beth said earlier, and I was like, I'm going to put a pin in this for heels or people
Is
who
it
have there's like a
that
shred
Ava
of
made the decision without
maybe we'll have the production team edit that out. Mike's no, we're definitely we're gonna keep that in. Anyway, Mike Steph, former valedictorian, wrestling super fan. It's WrestleMania month. We got to hear from our third host of this podcast, Mike Steph. No homework. What did you think of this episode? How did it land with you?
Well, what I saw in my mind, when you was talking about how it discombobulated Jacob in his lesson plan and the way he likes to run class. I remember in fourth grade, we had a teacher, Mr. Ugoda. I'm not sure if I referred to him here or elsewhere, or whatever, but his classroom was totally different. Like he tried to treat us older than 9-year-olds, right? Or just more mature. So you couldn't write in pencil, you had to write in pen. You couldn't write print, you had to write in cursive. And also, but the biggest thing, the one that actually correlates to this particular episode with the homework situation, was homework was integral to your success and failure in that class. Because what he did, and it took me a while, because like they moved me from class to class in the fourth grade. Like I was in one class and they found out that they realized that I needed a more advanced level. So they moved me to Mr. Ugoda's class, right? Long story, I'll tell you offline. So when I got to this class, I didn't understand that he used homework. If you did not do your homework, or you did not do a thorough job in your homework, you would come in the next day and have no idea what you was taught, because literally the homework was prep for your next day's lesson. It wasn't like how normally is you do the lesson and now you do the homework to pretty much go over what you just reviewed, what you just did. No,
Yeah,
the
that check
homework
for
was
understanding.
prep.
Right.
Huh?
That check for understanding. Here's what we went over.
Yeah. The homework was
that
the prep for the following lesson. I mean, for the following day. So once I realized that, then I was able to grasp it. So I could imagine how that would, especially if Jacob it seemed like Jacob kind of modeled his thing after that. Like, all right, we're going to have discussion, but we're going to have discussion based on what you did the night before. If you didn't do what you did the night before, then you're not going to be able to. So I got that part. One other thing about Jacob, which is interesting, because this whole idea, the genesis of this whole idea. See, I used that word. The whole genesis of this idea originated at the meeting that he is in charge of. See, so my thing is, okay, he was so against the no homework edict, right? Now it wasn't presented during the meeting that he was in charge of, but literally the gathering was why Ava even knew that Crystal school was implementing no homework policy or whatever. So I felt like, since you do have a position that you're able to I think if anything, he should have been more the advocate than Barbara, because of her experience. I understand why they asked her to be the spokesman, but at the same time, especially when they got the pushback from Ava, like, listen, I'm the principal, you're the teacher, do what you gotta do. Jacob should have came in, because that's pretty much that's literally his position, right? He's supposed to be like the advocate or something to the effect of the schools or the staff or the faculty, right, or whatever.
Yes.
So that one kind of left me wanting, but I understand it's only 22 minutes an episode. I get it. Now, when it comes to Gregory and Janine looking at him sideways about, first of all, listen, and I hope this doesn't come out any type of way, but this is the problem.
That means it's going to come out a type of way when you say that.
Why did you? If you're gonna just let me just go through that, and it might went over people's heads, but you just wanted to bring pull the bullseye what I'm about to
This
say.
is what
But
we this is what we do. This gonna be
I
for
get it. I
social
get it.
media. Okay, we're ready. We're gonna clip this.
This is the problem when you work with your significant other, when you
Yes.
work with your spouse. It's very hard not to allow your 9 to 5 to bleed into your personal life, to bleed into your relationship.
Talk
Now, I
about it.
worked with my wife. We had numerous jobs together, and and the funny thing is, a lot of times I was her supervisor. So, but I couldn't be her immediate supervisor. So we had to work different shifts, But even then, we kind of tried to make a concerted effort not to speak shop at home because we didn't want it to bleed in. So Janine looking at Gregory like, darn, I didn't know like you've been slacking off. Like, you don't grade. You don't grade homework. You give out stars. You give out meaningless stars. And then she even said, she was like, I got, I'm not going to say I'm not going to go any further because we got to get in the same bed at the end of the night. I love you and all, but and I like the way that she slid the "I love you" because even though we've known their relationship has grown, certain aspects like that they've slipped in without harping on it. Even like the moving episode, they slipped in how much they cared without harping on it, right? So the fact that she said, "I love you" and everything, so it's going to be difficult for me to get in the same bed, so I'm going to leave it at that. I liked how subtle that was. And then I want to say she realized, all right, there's a method to his madness. And because I love this man so much, I'm not going to look at him side-eye. I'm going to see, well, maybe if I implement that in the way that I run my class, let me see the benefits so I can get on the same wavelength with him. So I felt that was very, very important for this episode. And then lastly, Melissa and her gambling addiction. We're going to call it what it is, her gambling addiction when it comes to the sports apps. Trust me, as someone who partakes, especially during football season, weekly, I understand how addictive it is. It seemed like she was progressing. First, they lured her in with all right, if you sign up, we'll give you X amount of free app bucks. And then by the end of the episode, she was like, yes, house money, because literally it's, oh, shoot, I bet my money for my house. Yeah, maybe they was overstating it, but that was a little glimpse of how easy it is to catch the fever. Like
It's a casino in your pocket.
Exactly. I put myself on a limit, right? So like for instance, I'll bet $20 a week, $30 at the most. But since I'm doing those $30 for the week, I make sure I only do it during football season, and then I try to maximize my profits. Year before last, it worked. This past season did not work. No matter what my record said on HGF, which is another entity of mine, no matter what my record said, which was great, it didn't correlate to money in my pocket. But it didn't really hurt me because I knew, I'm like, all right, I could spend if I blow this $30, it's not gonna hurt me. That's lunch for a day. If I spend lunch for a day, okay, fine, it's not gonna hurt me. But yeah, this episode I really did like, and like Sarah Beth said, I like the way that it seemed like they're getting back to their roots of what we grew to love about Abbott. It seemed like, actually, I'm gonna pat myself in the back also, because it seems like what I was saying about them writing it in blocks and not as the whole season, episode 1 through whatever. It seemed like they did one part, all right, hiatus, another part, hiatus, another part, and it allowed them to see what was working, what the fans liked, what the viewers liked, what the viewers didn't like, and they made tweaks as they've gone on, and I think they've gotten on track so far, well, at least toward the end of this season. So yeah, no homework. Yeah, I'll save my grief for later.
Right. And Abbott is very much online. It seems like their team, I guess like a lot of ABC properties, their team is on social during the season and is frequently kind of taking that proverbial temperature check of the audience. So yeah, well said, Mike. And thank you, Sarah Beth. I thought about the wrestling reference I so gracefully intertwined during our commentary. I think it was related to Ava. And sometimes she's kind of a rebel with a cause, but I'll just give a spoiler. She is not going to be my MVP pick for this 2-pack because I was not happy with Principal Coleman for this. But that being said, we'll go ahead and move on to April Fools since it is a new
one
month
thing.
after all. Yeah, Mike Steph, talk to us.
One last thing before we put a bow on it. The one thing that I found interesting was, which was gratifying, to tell you the truth, that at the end of the episode, when Ava and Barbara had their powwow again, and they was able to mend fences and not let it linger,
Good call.
that Ava was open to the which call it the differences of opinion, and it seemed like Barbara played to her her darn, I don't know why I'm blanking on the word, but played to her sensibilities, because she said, listen, why do you feel the need to compete with her? First of all, you're not in college anymore. You know, whatever happened in college, that happened in college. You have this great position, you have a man, which actually the funny thing is, she mentioned you have a man first, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, darn, are we taking it back to the 60s? Like, all right, I got me a husband, I got me a man, but it was just like, listen,
we're talking about Oshan.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is Oshan.
Boy. That we're talking about Oshan.
Yeah.
There's a difference between having a man and having Oshan.
There's yeah. Sarah Beth came through. She knows what time it is.
I do, because I've been an Oshan defender from day one, Tyler. How long?
Yeah, and I jumped on. I'm about that.
It took
that
me
12
a whole season to convince you.
Yeah, that 12-month plan. Yeah, it took me a minute. I took my
But no, I'm glad that it didn't linger, and I'm glad that they was able to.
They always figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they always figure it out.
I think that was even how it ended. Where the other principals were like, wait, what, you don't oh, well, their test scores weren't good, so we stopped and I think that also becomes such, as someone who's highly competitive, I really I get it, but also as someone who believes in super high standards, because actually one of the biggest arguments I've had this year with people at district level is I'm holding my kids to a high standard. I expect the same from you. And I expect that of all educators. I don't buy oh, it was too hard, so we made it easier. No, we give them support and scaffold so they can get there. The one thing I will never agree with, right, is every kid can succeed. It just looks different. And so it always drives me crazy when I show up and even sometimes my friends was hey, let's be and I'm no, everyone, I expect every educator in this room to be a good teacher. And I think that too, when she kind of realized versus compete with Crystal, compete with her by having your kids do what makes them successful versus just implementing it because Crystal did. Oh, my kid, we lock the door, or we come in at 7:16 instead of 7 because they come in at 7:15. So I think too, there was that piece of you can compete with Crystal, but don't compete with what she's saying, compete with what you're doing, right? Because immediately the other principal was wait, if you're rethinking it, then maybe we'll rethink it.
Mm-hmm. So, there's a distinction to be made. Mm-hmm. There's a difference.
Go on vibes. I'm I was wow. You running your school on vibes. Okay. See how that works for you.
What a crazy, I couldn't. Nope. That makes me want to vomit.
Very, very 2020.
Someone who loves structure. I couldn't work for Crystal. I could probably work for Ava, which frightens me.
That was one of the best lines of the episode. All right, on to episode 18, April Fools. The teachers are on high alert during April Fool's Day. At first, they think they're safe as the usual prankster, Mr. Morden, is in the hospital. Our mans cannot catch a break. Well, no, if Mr. Morden is anyone's mans. But anyway, it's tough out here for him. Various pranks spread around the school, getting all the teachers, our whole ensemble. Ava barricades herself in her office when even the locked staff room and Ava's coffee aren't safe. Ava realizes Diya has been helping the kids. Diya reveals April Fool's is her favorite day and also her birthday. We'll start in Brooklyn for this one. Mike Steph, April Fools, what say you?
April Fools was an okay episode. Um, to me, April Fools Day brought to light what I've been harping on this season, and that is the group and the people on the outside of the group, and how, in a lot of ways, without them realizing, they do make the people on the outside of the group a little bit resentful. Like, for instance, Morton's in the hospital, right? First thing they think, oh, there's got to be Morton. They call Morton. Morton's in the hospital. And then they look and they're like, oh. And he's like, yeah, I'm not doing too great. I got a staph infection. All right, click. And I'm like, wow. Okay, listen, I get that he's not, but he's like, yeah, I'm not doing too good. These staph infections. And Melissa's like, hey, okay, yeah. So, all right, Morton's out the picture, right? Diya, the reason Diya was so intent on doing it, number one, because she says she loves April Fools, but more importantly, because she felt invisible. This has been an ongoing narrative with her and Ava throughout the whole trek of the show, is the fact that she is very invaluable to Ava. But Ava acts like she does everything herself. So that's why she's like, you know what? Okay, y'all take me for granted too much. Y'all don't realize I'm indispensable when it comes to this. And all right, now this is the perfect time for me not only to show my worth, but to have some fun and really poke at y'all in ways that are nothing too major, but I could be a nuisance to y'all, and because I'm invisible to y'all. So that was the part that really stood out to me. The pranks were the pranks. Okay, fine, but I really did I felt real emotional at the end when it came to Diya, because she's like, yeah, like, y'all didn't even realize it was my birthday. Nobody asked. I've been working here for how long? Going back to the mall episodes. Remember when she said, listen, I got time. I'm not doing no more. When y'all get back in this building, I'll be back. I'll take my vacation time then. You know how many things probably fell through the cracks when she wasn't there? I think things happened while they was at the mall, and they was like, Dawn, where's Diya? Oh yeah, Diya is not. So this to me, this is almost a culmination or a bow to that storyline that started in the mall when she took that time off. Like, listen, y'all don't pay attention to me. Y'all don't treat me with respect. I don't ask for so much. Same narrative happened with the kitchen staff. When they did the picture day, you have all these things that to a certain degree makes the main core a little bit unlikable. We like them because we've grown with them, but if they were a clique in your school and my job, I would find them insufferable, because it's like, yeah, y'all are all in your own little bubble. Y'all have no feelings or no thought about how your actions, which deal with, how other people deal with your actions.
Yeah.
Nothing. And then when we make ourselves known, it's almost like you treat us like a major, not even minor, but a major inconvenience to your being. So yeah, I really think April Fools was a very important episode in this series. And people probably like, darn, you're kind of overstating it. No, I don't think I'm overstating it. Because if you're really invested in these characters, the overall characters, even at the end, when I think they checked on Morton and they hung up on him again, it's like, I get it, but what has Morton ever done to them to receive that type of treatment? Think about it. Yeah, is he annoying? Okay. Does he complain about his situation? Okay. But has he really impacted anybody's life negatively for him to be treated that way? No.
He tried. What's his most recent transgression? He tried to recruit Melissa to his his friend group. A little diabolical, but if that's your biggest transgression this semester, you're doing you're not doing too bad.
Yeah. So that's what I said. I think this is really a very important episode, and hopefully, it's probably more of a one-off or a two-off in this case when it comes to Diya. I just sometimes I really wish they would integrate more of the outer circle into them instead of giving them, all right, well, this is something that the group had to overcome. Okay, fine, but that leads, like I said, that leads to resentment. As a fan, as a viewer, that I'm feeling this way, you know. So I don't know how many other people feel this way, but I feel this way. Like, listen, they're lovable, but they're insufferable also.
Sarah Beth, how you feel?
Kind of mixed. Like, I don't love, like, I'm with Mike on it. Like, especially just thinking, like, I get with, like, Dom, things like that, right? Like, they're newer, but some of it, like, it seems to be a lot of the support staff that gets the brunt of this. Right? The kitchen staff, the counselor, the library, like, now Diya, and it's like, though, like, great. And again, I get it, it's a comedy, but also, like, everybody working within education is underpaid. Support staff are especially underpaid, right? And they're also, like, the ones that tend to get the brunt of the disrespect because of that. And it's like, you know, I've said this a million times, I can't do my job without my support staff. Like, I could never, the running joke, and she knows I love her dearly. Our principal secretary, Amy, knows, like, I always joke that I have a healthy fear of Amy but like, Amy is someone who will go to bat for me, like, any day. Because, like, she knows how much, like, I care about the school, and it's just it's always the running joke of, like, you gotta have a healthy fear. Like, but that's who I want sitting at my front desk, letting people in, is somebody that you know not to cross, right? But, like, I could never imagine, like, anyone talking, mainly because Amy will put you in there now, but, like, the way in which, like, just the constant, like, disrespect, like, it does hit a point where it's like, and I've also just never been a fan of that kind of comedy trope. Like, Parks and Rec did it with Jerry, of, like, they're always the butt of the joke. They're always never, it's probably the, like, strong sense of justice, and, like, there's probably some issues that should come up in therapy, who knows, but, like, that, like, where it's always constantly, like, the butt of the joke, or constantly getting, like, the brunt of it, and, like, that school wouldn't run without Diya. And so, like, to see her constantly treated that way is hard, right? Seeing how the kitchen staff, all they wanted was floor mats and to be included in the yearbook. Like, and I come from, like, a school that's worked really, really hard on our culture. Especially, like, when I started there, like, one of the stories we tell new staff is, like, you need to understand, like, where we came from. There was a time at my site where teachers were in the hallway screaming at each other in front of their students. Like, it was a toxic, and I can remember a time when we switched to, so we have a big where we treat every adult on our campus like a teacher, regardless of what they do, because in some aspect, they are teaching our students down to the, like, custodians. Like, they might not be responsible for academics, but they're responsible for a social skill, an emotional skill, a life skill. Like, every adult that comes onto our campus is a teacher, and we treat them that way. And I remember the blowout that some teachers had. They went to the union because I went to school for a degree, and you were not going to call our maintenance person a teacher. Like, it was absolutely disgusting. Like, I have never been so, like, and we've come from that, right? Like, to where, like, no, you are a teacher. I don't care. I don't care what you do. You have some aspect. You are here helping teach our kids in some aspect. And so, like, having gone from, like, a culture like that, and so, like, again, they're underpaid. I mean, again, everyone in education, but, like, and so disrespected.
The brunt of the disrespect.
And
Insecurity is a hell of a drug.
And
That
just like
that's
little
I'm still
things
processing
like,
what you shared. People have a
yeah.
lot of time on their hands to be upset about
hmm
stuff
And
that
it's
we
like
shouldn't
we
be
just
upset
don't
about.
always think like we run a preschool program, and in the district, the preschools ran like through the district, not the school. But like we include them in every staff meeting. We include them in weekly emails. Like they are part of our campus. They come to our assemblies. And they were telling us we're one of the only schools with a preschool program that like includes the preschool as part of the school. The
Wow.
others run it as a separate, and like I couldn't imagine. I love our preschoolers. I love our preschool program. But like I think, right, like Abbott has this opportunity to like model something different, right? Like they do such a good job as the insight. Like there's never been a time where I've watched an episode of Abbott and not been able to relate in some way as a teacher. And I can relate like to this like mentality, but I feel like they have this platform that they could do a lot of good with, instead of just making our support staff the brunt of the joke. And that's where it feels like it's becoming. Because like I get why they're the center, like they're the main characters. I get like centering on them, but like I said, I'm not a big fan of like one character, one like type always being the brunt of a joke in the series. I think it gets old anyways. And I think that's kind of where like I liked the episode in a lot of ways. Like I spent the whole time just assuming Morton was like pretending to be in the hospital.
Right. Yes. I had
That's
that. I had that. I
like,
had that. I think the three of us. Well, maybe Mike
Mhm.
Steph did not. Mike Steph believed Morton's
I did not.
ailments, but I had that moment too, Sarah Beth.
Just because they're like, oh, it's his favorite holiday. And maybe I've watched too much New Girl, where Winston's character is really bad at playing pranks. And I don't know if that's what it was, but I was like, don't trust him.
That's one show I don't think I like. That's the one with Zoe Deschanel. I don't like that.
I don't like Zoe. I don't like Zoe's character, Jess.
No, I don't
love
like
the
her.
rest of the characters.
No, I don't like her.
Yeah.
And it's no fault from her. And I know I don't mean to hijack this show right now, but she was in the movie 500 Days of Summer, and her character in 500 Days of Summer, how many times she broke his heart, really just made me dislike anything that she's in. So
see, I'm
like,
so team Summer in 500 Days of Summer.
This might need to be a separate podcast with
matter of fact,
I'm telling you
exactly. Yep.
Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast season 4, my favorite. Come on now, I got
I'm
you.
so team Summer.
It's not a bid, it's real. This is gonna be okay. We'll promote it when you two have your separate episode on Mike's channel. We'll promote that. I can commit to that.
The other, like, I am impressed with I never in a million years do I think the kids were really part of it, because the April Fool's jokes I get from kids a lot of the time are, Miss Kata, your shoes are untied. Or there's a spider in my hair.
That's tough.
And it's really hard. Like, I love them and I get it. And it's usually like kinder first. It's really hard to be like, like, because it's always one or the other. And then I just hear it like over and, or then like one kid will do it and then another kid does it.
Yeah.
And half the time I'm like, I have slip-ons. I don't have shoelaces. Like, I did have a good one year where one of my kids wrote a note that was from the principal that said I'd been fired. And he had the principal like give it to me, like when I came to get the kids from recess. And it was something like, oh, Miss Kate, like, so sorry, you've been fired, Miss Brewer, or something like that. And so when I went to go get the kids from recess, he had the principal give me this like fired note. Right?
That's crazy.
So, and I was like, all right, the worst part was, because my principal was like, so she gives it to me, right? And I was like, oh, I guess I'm going home then, right? So I start leaving, and then she's like, no, April. I'm like, nope, I'm going home. Like, you can teach them the rest of the day.
I'm speechless. A young lady got me this year.
And I think that
really sweet.
I still come back and teach them.
That's crazy because in high school, all I got was, "Oh, hey, mister, you dropped something." I looked down. Oh, what did I drop? Because I'm prone to doing that. Something out of my pocket, like my Carmex lip balm or my little Listerine mint strips. And she was like, "Oh, I got you." And then she laughed at her own brilliant, she got me,
Mhm.
laughed at her own joke. And I was like, "Oh, that's very good." This is like it was the shock of it being from that particular student. I would not
Right.
expect her to lean into the April Fools of it all, but that clearly worked for her. And I did not get any pink slips about my employment, but I got the you dropped something out of your pocket, and
Yeah.
she was cracking up, and I think it made her day. So I gladly took part, and I said I'm going to get you back at some point. But well
I
done
have
for
gotten
that.
my kids a couple of times.
Good for
Uh,
you. Good for you. I may need
yeah.
to take tips from you. I have not
My
gotten them
first
back
year, I
yet.
took them loose Libra hunting. I don't know that you would be able to do that because they're older.
Hmm.
And then usually it falls during state testing, so I give them a made-up spelling bee that I tell them as part of the state test. And then
Oh,
it's
hit him
all
where it hurts.
uh-huh. I've gotten a
Nice.
little bit the first year I did, I accidentally made a kid cry, and he got so overwhelmed he cried. And so I was like, okay, we got to
Oh,
pull it back a little bit.
well, that's yeah.
So I usually just give them made up words, and then when they like question me, I'm like, these are words from second grade. These are all review. You should know these.
Mm.
And just like lean really hard, like you should know these. And then it's really funny because about halfway through, they're like, "Oh yeah, I remember these." And I'm like, "You're such a liar. You do not."
Well, I say it's time we lean into theory corner. And I was debating, quite honestly, where to go with this one. I wrote some ideas in my notes. I wanted to possibly mention Darnell here. I even did research on the actor finally because I thought to myself, wait, this guy looks really familiar. So the
Mhm.
actor who plays Darnell, his name is Langston Kerman. Seemingly
Kermit, like the
in
frog.
uh no, Kerman.
Kermit.
Langston Kerman, Kerman. It seems like an auto-generated name, but it's not. The brother's name is Langston Kerman. I'm assuming. I can only assume he was named after Langston Hughes. You go ahead, brother. I love that. But no, so he's been in most recently. What would I have seen? That FX show English Teacher. I think the lead
Mhm.
actor in that show turned out to be a pervert. So I probably shouldn't
Something, yeah.
promote it. But yeah, that's unfortunate, or just like a terrible person.
Not a good person.
Yeah, we will not be an English teacher FX review
Yeah.
podcast. We are strictly on Abbott Corner
I'm
here.
glad
But
I found out at least kind of early on before I was like really committed
oh,
to
good
it.
for you. Yeah, the show wasn't
Like,
hitting for me. But our friend here, Kerman, not Kermit, that's crazy, was on Hulu's The Other Black Girl. I think that's probably where I saw him. The Other Black Girl, a novel turned into that show for Hulu. So anyway, I thought maybe I'll go the Darnell route. Maybe I have thoughts, but then I'm like, nah, I don't really there. Maybe I was going to mention Manny in terms of these supporting characters who seem to be staples on the
Andy hasn't
show.
been
Tariq,
back at all, has he?
Darnell, man, yeah. So my theory was going to be, okay, maybe this is inching closer to a Manny return before the end of season 5. We just have a few more episodes left, but I am not going to go there. I want to establish, first time ever on the podcast, Tatyana Ali corner. In this time we're living in, where some of the hallmarks of my childhood, many of my crushes from yesteryear, are turning out to be MAGA bots or MAGA sympathizers. Yes, we're talking about Chili from TLC. We're talking about Stacey Dash and the like. It's very concerning for me. I just watched the Lamar Odom documentary on Netflix, and the sort of it's called The Death and Life of Lamar Odom, the transgression of his life. My point here is Tatyana Ali, with how long she has been a part of the zeitgeist, with how long that I have followed her career. One of the more remarkable stories, I do not recall her having any huge controversies or her just in any way really veering off the path that she's been on, all the way when I remember her from playing Ashley on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Obviously, she was back in this two-pack as Crystal, Ava's college turned professional career nemesis. I love Tatyana Ali. One of the more underrated careers, I would say, of the past few decades. And I love that we can still give her flowers all these years later in this supporting role, this reoccurring supporting role that she has as Crystal. So even though Chili has let us down, Stacey Dash has let us down, Lamar Odom is just, you got to watch that documentary. It's crazy. I am here to establish Tatyana Ali corner. I want to buy property on that corner. And I just love me some T Ali. That's my theory corner.
Property on that corner. You sure you want to phrase it like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
What corner is this? Is it the corner of Hollywood and Vine?
I may need to rephrase that. I love Tatyana Ali. Can we agree one of the more underrated careers in this time where I can't go to the TLC concert anymore because Chili popped off on Instagram with her reposts, and Stacey Dash. I can't watch Clueless anymore the same way. I think we need to lean into giving Tatyana Ali her flowers on this podcast. That's all I'm saying. Tatyana Ali corner. That's my theory corner. We need to start appreciating her more. No, not really a theory. Just a moment of Tatyana Ali.
Sure, like
I feel good about it. I don't regret it. My theory is we
drop out.
I'm real afraid he might have just changed herself. Like I have no reason to believe.
No. I can't.
Listen,
not another.
Listen, now.
No, I've not checked her likes or her retweets or any of that. I don't need to. All the way going back from Ashley and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to now Crystal on Abbott Elementary, Tatyana Ali, one of the more underrated careers of our time. Truly, I mean that. Mike Steph, Sarah Beth, you got any theories before we get to our exit ticket?
I have a theory that if Roxy Diaz made a guest appearance on Abbott Elementary, we probably would have a whole segment dedicated to the life and times of Roxy Diaz. But
I wonder what her role would be. Now I'm thinking about it.
But no, the theory, it's not really so much of a theory since you pretty much just really just copped out of giving a theory for Theory's Corner. But I would
that kind of worked, did it not? Okay.
No, not really. But no, I would give this time. I'll dedicate my time. Cause I really don't have a theory either, but I'll dedicate this time to the ongoing dynamic with Darnell, since you did bring him up, the dynamic with him and Gregory and Janine. But Janine thinking she was out the woods, like, well, guess what? I don't have to deal with Darnell. At least Darnell won't hit a woman or whatever. And then Darnell's ex-girlfriend or Darnell's significant other who he's fathering the child of with. I don't like saying the other term. She came up and she pretty much put the threat to Janine, like, listen, Darnell, you don't got to worry about Darnell because he's all about Gregory, but you got to worry about me. Something such happened? Yeah, I'm whipping you know what. And I'm like, wow. And there was almost a wardrobe malfunction during that, but if you go back, you'll see exactly what I'm about to talk about. I mean, when I'm referring to, which I'm glad there was not a wardrobe malfunction, because that would have been crazy for them to even just put that there. But Darnell also, you talk about the actor Langston Kerman. And you know where you should recognize him from? Insecure. He was on 7 episodes of Insecure. Yes, he was. Do you know? I believe the character he was the one that I don't know why I'm blanking on her name. But she didn't want to deal with a short man. Yeah.
Did he have a few episodes? Did he have a few episodes alongside Lawrence? No, that was Chad.
No.
Chad,
he
was, different. Okay.
Darn, Issa, and then what was her best friend name?
Oh, Molly.
Yes. Molly was dealing with him, but Molly didn't, because
Mike Steph, this is why we get along. That I don't know how I missed that in his IMDb. That absolutely would be the source material for me. Okay.
Not gonna. Funny thing is,
I've been trying to run back an Insecure marathon at some point. You've inspired me now this summer.
The funny thing is, when I messaged you yesterday, I was like, darn, did they change a Darnell? So I actually went back just to see. All right, because I don't know, for some reason he looked a little different. Even Gregory said that. Did he get taller? Because I'm like, hold on, I don't remember them, but so when I did that, I did the research, and then I started going down his filmography, and I'm like, I knew I recognized dude, and he does look different. He looks different in a lot of the roles that were in his filmography. He looks totally different. But I think they must have put lifts on him because no, he's not that tall. He really isn't that tall. There's a reason why they said that, because the little in the jokes, there's something went on. Because I look back, I'm like, they were like this, and then all of a sudden he was towering over Gregory, and I'm like, he's not that tall. But yeah, Darnell needs to get a grip. Like, I understand, I love, like you said, the bond between them, having which guard just he was upset because he wanted to spend time with his son. That's how they bond, over watching Snowfall when he was 2 and watching episodes of Power, which is crazy. But listen, the things that we put in front of our children, well, at least I'll speak to my own, when they were younger, like my oldest, before he was born, and I'm not saying, but it was what it was, because this was 1995. Before he was born, I put the Walkman headphones around my wife's belly and let him ingest the sounds of Only Built for Cuban Links, Raekwon and Ghost. Yes. So, listen, fathers do things with their kids that only fathers can get away with when it comes to bonding. So I get it. It might seem warped to other people, but listen, when he listened to it older, I know he probably was like, don't this sound familiar? Yeah, you was listening to this before technically you was born. Wu Gambinos. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's my theory corner. Like before the end of this season, Gregory gotta do something, because I'm not advocating for violence, but Darnell's is trying to pull his man card way too much. Like, listen, I understand it, but there's only so many times you're going to threaten me. I'm sorry. Listen,
at my workplace,
season,
are you gonna roll up on
series finale?
Oh, which is not too far away. It is on the horizon.
No, not the season finale. The series finale.
The series. Oh, yeah. I need to actively listen. Okay, the series. Well, we got plenty of time until then. Sarah Beth, you got a theory? Or do you want to roll into your exit ticket A+ pick?
We can go into exit ticket. I rarely have theories, so
I thought about that as we were heading this way. We're ready for your A+ pick. Who's earning your highest distinction on this?
Diya is getting my A+ this week. Like, just the amount of effort and planning and like time and getting the kids in on it, like, and like her. So it's gone to Diya. Like, just the amount of work that goes into planning saran wrapping an entire lounge. Insane. And also, it's Diya because it was so dumb for her being in the soap bubbles and then being like, I'm a child. And Janine running in. There's something about that moment where they're like, it's not a child. Like what child yells out, I'm a child? It was stupid. And I but it was just such a dumb moment. I loved it.
pretty on the nose. I do love that she was spotlighted on this episode. I agree with you, by the way, for the record. I'm going with Diya as well. Mike Steph, is it unanimous?
No, I'm going to throw a curveball. I'm going to give it to Barbara. I'm going to give
it to Barbara. Barbara's going to be my second choice here.
Primarily because of the no homework episode, how she handled that situation with Grace in class and did not lower herself down to throw dirt or throw shade or let her ego get the best of her. She was like, listen, okay, Ava's having a moment. Ava's feeling herself. All right, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to figure out another way of how I can get through to Ava, because we do have history. We consider each other friends, even though Ava is the way. But regardless, they take Ava for who she is and they love her for it. So for her to eventually get through and not for it to become a bigger issue than it potentially could have been, I'm going to give it to Barbara. Also, I figured since both y'all got Diya, can't have a clean sweep. I got to be different. So yeah, but definitely Barbara. Yeah. Barbara was gets an A+ for me.
Mike Steph, I love it. You're very persuasive. Having a unanimous A+ pick segment, 2 episodes in a row, 2 podcasts in a row, that may be uncharted territory for us. That did not happen. Maybe
That
one
would
day.
be weird.
Looking ahead, though, at
But
season
you know
5,
what,
before we
though?
get
2
out of here,
episodes in a row
Sarah
where
Beth,
it's not Janine. Look at
that
you.
may be uncharted territory for
That
at
is
least one of
uncharted
us here.
territory. I don't think you've ever
Yeah,
gotten 2 episodes
yeah.
in a row.
No, but I did get off my Tatyana Ali corner, so
Hmm.
I have
Oh, is that why?
I have a plan here. I will get my agenda off. Yes, absolutely. But we want to know who is earning your A+ pick. Let us know in the comments here on YouTube, or hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn at 4AZTeach. Before we get out of here, just looking ahead, season 5. Oh my goodness. If what I read is correct, if the streets are telling the truth, we do not have that many episodes left. In fact, it looks like this week we'll have Trip, produced by Ava Coleman. I looked this up. There was a producer named Ava Coleman. I don't know why it took me so long to realize that. I was like, oh, snap. Janelle James is playing this principal named Ava Coleman, but that's actually the name of a producer. Anyway, my mind was blown. Then we have Night Out in 2 weeks. And then the final 2 episodes, I believe we're getting a double feature for our season 5 finale. Ava and Fest is the title of the first one, to be released on April 22nd. And then that same night, we have the finale entitled Miami. So I think we are in for some major storyline developments. You know, I will be with these two to cover it all. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.